Correlating Scientifically Documented Supernatural Phenomena. November 20th, 2018. Dr. Nikhil asked, Padanamaskaram Swamiji, given below is a discussion regarding the systematic observations recorded by researchers working in the field of rebirth, near-death experiences, and some supernatural phenomena. These researchers are trying to convince the rest of the scientific community that such phenomena are genuine and that there is a need to revise our worldview in order to accommodate these phenomena. However, these scientists are not yet able to correlate their observations and come up with an overall theory that brings meaning to life and shows direction to humanity. Also, some of the tentative conclusions made by these researchers appear to be in contradiction with the karma theory. I request you to kindly correlate these observations in a meaningful way. Your servant, Nikhil. Correlating rebirth and near-death experience cases with the karma theory. A number of children worldwide have reported memories of their past births. Similarly, there are several reports of near-death experiences reported by people. These and other cases are found all over the world, irrespective of race, religion, beliefs, and geographical location. A massive volume of scientifically verified and published cases exists, and this field is the subject matter of active research at the Division of Perceptual Studies at the University of Virginia School of Medicine. There are only a handful of researchers worldwide who do this research, but this small and motivated group of researchers is striving to convince the rest of the scientific community and the entire world that the present scientific view of the world is very limited and that it must be changed. The present worldview is a materialistic or physicalist worldview according to which nothing beyond the physical can exist. Consciousness is the product of brain activity and it ends with the death of the physical body. There is, of course, no question of the afterlife, the supernatural, or God in the physicalist worldview. The researchers at the division and a few other places in the world are saying that the evidence and scientific investigations conducted by them contradict the physicalist worldview. A drastically different worldview is necessary to explain these supernatural phenomena. As a first step to developing a new worldview, the scientists at the division are trying to come up with possible explanations for their observations from thousands of cases. They have also consulted some spiritual masters and practitioners to help them formulate these explanations and theories. Their understanding at present is only in the early stages, and they are nowhere close to developing a comprehensive theory. However, I feel that some of the tentative conclusions made by them are not in the right direction. If they do their research in better alignment with the karma theory, as explained by you, not only will they see better progress in their research, but it will also be beneficial for humanity. Hence, I request you to kindly enlighten us and the world in this regard. Let's first have a look at some of the important observations made by these researchers based on their investigation of thousands of cases. Let's then review some of the inferences made by them. The majority of people who report that they remember their past births are children. They usually start speaking about their past life memories as soon as they are able to talk at the ages of 2 to 3 years. Their past life memories usually fade as they grow between the ages of 5 to 7 years. Very few of them retain those memories into adulthood. Most of the people who remember their past births have died in a tragic manner. Some of them have birthmarks or deformities at the same place on their body where they had been fatally hurt in the past birth. For example, a person who was shot dead with a bullet in his head was reborn with a deformity near the ear and face where he was shot in the past birth. Sometimes they also have ailments in the new birth which are related to the cause of their death in the previous birth. For instance, a person who died due to tuberculosis at a young age in the past birth could be reborn with asthma. When these people are counseled by psychic healers and once they are able to overcome the shock and pain that they felt during their death in the past life, their current ailments get cured almost miraculously. Observations regarding near-death experiences. Near-death experiences and out-of-body experiences occur with a small number of people. Numerous such cases have been investigated by the division. In general, in near-death experiences, some patients who were thought to be dead by the doctors for some time later claim that they were still conscious outside of their body during that time. The patients often claim to have floated up from their body and that they were able to see everything accurately in the hospital room and even outside. The patients say that they were able to think much more clearly than usual and could observe all the minute details that were occurring. At times they claim to have visited some other heavenly worlds and met their dead relatives who told them to go back. Later the patients shared these experiences with others after being revived by the doctors. Pleasant near-death experiences are far more common than unpleasant and terrifying experiences. There does not seem to be a correlation between the nature of the person and the type of near-death experience that the person had. Good-natured people can have unpleasant near-death experiences, and bad-natured persons can have pleasant near-death experiences. Tentative conclusions based on the above observations. Following are some of the tentative conclusions drawn by the researchers in the field based on the observations listed above. The current scientific concept that consciousness or mind is the product of brain activity alone is probably not true. There is a relation between the neurological activity in the brain and consciousness, but near-death experiences quite clearly support the claim that personal consciousness can exist beyond the physical body. In other words, the death of the physical body is not the end. It is quite possible that consciousness might be the cause of the material world. At present, science says that the neurological activity in the brain, which is matter and energy, produces consciousness and the mind. This seems to be violated in near-death experiences. The same can be said about the cases of children with birth defects related to fatal injuries or ailments related to the cause of death in the previous birth. The mental shock and pain experienced by the person during the previous birth could have manifested in the deformity or ailment in the current birth. In other words, it appears that consciousness, which is the pain of the past birth, is the cause of the material reality, which is the present ailment. This idea is further supported by the observation that the ailment of the present birth gets cured when the person is able to overcome the pain caused by the ailment in the previous birth. Many modern-day Advaitins enthusiastically agree with this idea that consciousness creates material reality. The abilities of some persons who can move, control, or physically change objects by their mind is another phenomenon that supports the claim that consciousness causes material reality. From the evidence of near-death experiences and rebirth, it seems quite clear that an afterlife exists. It's not very clear yet what all experiences are present in the afterlife for a soul, but some common trends are known. The karma theory might not be valid based on the analysis of the near-death experiences. Pleasant and unpleasant near-death experiences can happen to good-natured or bad-natured people. It is not as if good near-death experiences happen only to good-natured people and vice versa. If their near-death experience is an indication of their experience upon their actual death, then their afterlife could similarly be pleasant or unpleasant, irrespective of their nature. Rebirth of a person on earth certainly seems possible. Whether rebirth on earth happens for everyone or it happens only for those who died tragically is unclear. It might be possible that people who died tragically before their stipulated time might be given a second chance to live out their life completely. In that case, rebirth might only be in these exceptional cases. For the majority, they might be going to some other destination or different destinations. Given above based on only some criteria. Proposed tentative explanations. Clarity is still lacking. The division's researchers are not claiming to have a complete theory. Perhaps they are being extra cautious not to make any conclusion that will appear too spiritual, since that would make them completely unacceptable to the mainstream scientific community. Mainstream scientists do not openly accept spiritual concepts like afterlife, theory of karma, and rebirth. Hence, the main focus of the researchers at the Division of Perceptual Studies is on diligently recording the available evidence and analyzing it using well-accepted scientific and statistical methods. They are taking this effort so as to maximize the chances that their research gets accepted by the mainstream scientists. The division's researchers are not openly stating whether or not they accept the karma theory. They say that they are consulting spiritual masters and practitioners, but they are coming up with their own theories. Unfortunately, some of their tentative conclusions seem to be in contradiction with the karma theory. For instance, the aspect of reward and punishment for one's deeds is not at all accounted for by their explanations. Their understanding is far from comprehensive as of now. They've not been able to relate all these observations and define the meaning and purpose of life. These scientists do not have clarity on how this new knowledge about the afterlife and rebirth can be used for the benefit of an individual as well as society. So I request you to kindly correlate the scientific observations made by these scientists with the karma theory. I believe that a proper correlation would bring out the true meaning and purpose of life and would show the path to individual and societal progress.